Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Coach Taryn, founder of Different Breed. We help busy entrepreneurs and professionals to get in touch with their inner athletic freak, develop physical freedom, and therefore live with a better quality of life, better energy, and just get the most out of themselves. Today, we're going to talk through a very common question I get, and that is how to balance calisthenic skills training and lifting. Because everyone wants to be able to do cool calisthenic shit, it's cool, and everyone wants to be able to lift heavy because lifting serious tin is cool. So let's break down how we do those two things together. First things first, there is a general rule that I use for programs that cover calisthenics and lifting, and that is basically that you can do so many things of so many things. So you first can do 1 to 2 calisthenic skills. And what I mean by that is movements that require a high degree of ability, actual skill. So we can think handstands, muscle up. The technique is the limiter on those. Then we can do 2 main compounds. I actually missed my I in main. I just wrote man and did a dot, but there we go. Main compounds. And obviously most people want to do conventional deadlift and barbell back squat. You could replace any main compound in here, but I would suggest doing 1 major hinge and then 1 major knee dominant movement. So that could be a Bulgarian split squat and Zercher deadlift. You just want to pick a hip dominant and knee dominant, and those are your 2 main compounds. And then what we're going to do is pick 2 calisthenics strength skills. And this is slightly different to skills up here because we're thinking about things that don't require a lot of technical proficiency, but just actually raw strength. And I think quite a nice pair of these is front lever and planche. And let's do bent arm planche for the sake of this, because that's a more accessible skill to most people. And the reason we're going to pick these is we're going to have 1 pull and 1 push, because opposites, that makes sense, right? And we can train for these, we can train for these, and we can train for these all together. Now, we can do this, and we're actually going to take the example of 2 calisthenic skills, because why not? But one rule that covers all of these is you want to do these about 2 times a week. I know that's really small for you guys, sorry, but we want to do these about 2 times a week. And that allows us to really easily break this down into either a 3-day program or a 4-day program. And we'll have a look at both of those now. So if we were doing 3 days, 1, 2, 3, what is quite nice about this is you're always going to have rest days in between. So we can kind of program these a bit wackily. What I would normally do though is I would say, we're going to call handstand skill A, muscle up skill B. So I'd probably go skill A to have a break. And obviously you are actually going to have rest days in between, so it's not like you don't really get a break. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do skill B and skill B. So obviously you've got handstand skill A, boom, boom, and we've got muscle up skill B, boom, boom. Remember, you're going to have a break between these 2 days, so you're not going to be overtraining it. You could do muscle up on these both days. You could do a high pull. It would really depend on what you need at the given time. And obviously same thing with the handstands, you can kind of do whatever. Then we've got our main compounds. And these could, again, fit wherever, but what I will usually do is actually put these on the same day. So we're going to do deadlift on day 1. We're going to call that compound A, so I'm just going to put CA. And the reason I'm writing this, guys, I know it's a little bit more confusing, but you could then obviously, if you change any of these exercises based on what you want to do, fit them into this structure, which is why we're doing this. So this is compound A, and that's going to be deadlift, but we're going to do this as our main one. So we're going to put compound A1, and then we're going to do on another day, and we might as well just fit it on here, CA2. And our compound 2 day for that deadlift is going to be an accessory. So, you know, we might do heavy 5s on this day, and then we're doing pause deadlifts on this day. We want something a little bit more skill orientated for that main compound the second time we do it in the week, because it's going to overload the body less. You know, accumulative fatigue is a very real thing, but you also need to be working on your weak points within that movement to improve them. So this is the opportunity. Then on here, what we would do is we're going to do our compound B, C, B, but because we've done 1 there, we're going to do 2 there. And that is just going to make it a little bit easier. Again, less strain on the body. And like I say, we normally do them here, so I should have actually left a gap here. So we're going to do CA2 second, because that makes sense, and CB1. So we've got our heavy squat day on day 3. We've got our lighter squat day on day 1. That's going to be our accessory, and then vice versa for the deadlift. And then the only final thing we've got to fit in, and obviously the way I've written this, we've filled out these days a lot, is we now got to do our front lever and planche, and we can call these strength skills. I'm just going to put SK for skill strength. And then we'll have A, so that might be the front lever there, and then we can do SKB. And similarly to the deadlift, we'll have 1 and 2. So Bent arm planche, that might be, you know, higher volume on that day, so doing longer holds. It maybe you're doing an accessory like a pseudo planche push-up. For the skill A, obviously we just do front lever on that day, and then we need to spread these out. So again, because we've got breaks here, it doesn't really matter. So we can do SKB1 here, and then we can just say that we will do our SKA2 on this day. So, I mean, it all kind of really works into a nice little 3 there. And what you'd then fill in is you'd fill in your accessories and your cardio. So again, this day's really empty. You could have like upper accessories, and you could add in some cardio maybe. And then you could, you know, lower accessories on this day, core. You can just kind of fill that program out how you want to, but the fundamentals are all in there. And now we'll look at a 4-day, which I'm just gonna wipe this off with my hand because why not? And what I will do is I'll now write this, rather than writing the full structure, I'm actually gonna write this with the exercises that we've used, just so it's a bit clearer for you guys, because obviously 4 days is harder to follow. But I will put a link in the description of this video to a spreadsheet that will give you the foundations for this program in the blocks of the actual things you would be doing, rather than the specific exercises. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, 4-day programs are really nice because essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to, you know, split this all out. It evenly splits because it's 4 and 2s. So what I'm going to say is we'll do the strength skills on days 3 and 1. And there is no particular reason for this. It is just the way I've chosen to do it. Then we'll do our Cali skill on days 2 and 4. And because those Cali skills use a little bit less energy, we'll put our lifts on those days. So we'll do lifts, lifts. So what does that look like? That's going to look like front lever, back lever, and we're going to say 1, 2, so primary day, secondary day. Then we're going to have back lever, front lever, 2, 1, swap that around to now primary back lever day, secondary front lever day, and then we can do our Cali skills. So we maybe do handstand work, muscle up, and then we're going to go into our squat, 1, deadlift 2, primary secondary day, and then the same over here. Normally I'll always put handstands first because they're quite a nice warm up, but if you were doing like a really heavy pressing skill, you might need to do a day 1 and 2 of them. Just depends on where you're at with your handstand journey. So muscle up, and then we'll do deadlift 1, squat 2. And then you can see, again, we've got this program set out, and this is where we can start filling in accessories. So maybe lower accessories, cardio. Maybe we do some plyos on this day. Obviously, if we were doing plyos here, because they kind of need a bit more demand, we might put them first. If they're more mid-range players, maybe not. But, you know, you can see now how this program fills out. You might move orders around and stuff like that. But really, just by following these rules, we can very simply build out these programs. And again, if you want to have a look at a template of this with some accessories filled in so you can see what that looks like overall, there will be a link in the description of this video for you to check out and have a look at it so you can actually just program this for yourself. Now, there are a few caveats and exceptions in here. The first one is kind of obvious. We're not doing that much upper body lifting. And of course, in our accessories, we will have upper accessories in here somewhere. So let's just say we chucked it in on this day. We're still going to be doing pull-ups, we're still going to be doing dips, maybe bench, arm work. This will all fit in there. Remember, these are just our major lifts. But what you will find is you're probably going to find it pretty hard to progress your bench press if you're at the same time really focused on doing bent arm planche as your major pressing movement. So in this setup, what we are doing is we're essentially treating the upper body training as calisthenics training, and we will just do accessories around it that complement this. And we're treating our lower body training as the main compounds. Now, you could hypothetically swap this around, so you could be doing dragon squat maybe as your lower body movement, and then you do, who knows, maybe you're doing bench instead of bent arm planche. You could also do weighted dips if you were more interested in weighted Cali, but still wanted to develop some skills in lifting. This can really all mix up. So you do want to just keep in mind that this is essentially at the moment split into lower, upper, and we've done calisthenics for the upper, but you could do that with weighted calisthenics. You could put bench in there, you could put calisthenics movements in here. The main thing to take away is you're going to have 2 major measuring movements for your lower body. I would recommend these are your compounds if you're balancing lifting. And then you're going to have 2 major movements for your upper body. I recommend these being calisthenics skills or weighted calisthenics variations if that's what you're looking to progress. And then 1 to 2 calisthenics skills depending on your time. I would say do 2 if you can, or just 1 if you're really short on time. And there are a few other caveats. So I train a client who trains 6 days a week. They've got loads of time. And that means, well, they actually don't have loads of time. They work fucking 60 hours a week. They're just a psychopath for training. But they love training, so obviously it's something they do. And they turn up 6 days a week, which means whilst we kind of like keep this in mind as our rules, we can actually fit in a bit more, especially if we use things such as mobility-based skills or similar calisthenic strength skills that complement these, allowing us to fill out their program with other skills that build over time without significantly interfering in our ability to progress these. So you do want to think about the fact if you've got more time, you could do your accessories rather than standard like cables and dumbbells. You could do more calisthenics and develop your overall skills. Or you could look to be doing a lot more mobility skills, because obviously a lot of calisthenic skills aren't that hard strength-wise. They're a really big challenge mobility-wise, so like a back walkover, learning to do pike presses, all those sort of things. So mobility can be a huge way you can complement this program to really stretch it out. Conditioning is something that obviously you also saw. I said you could chuck cardio in there. You could also add runs and things like that, which I actually do have with that client that trains 6 days of the week. And the final thing to keep in mind is experience. Once you're good at all of this, you can worry about it less. So my deadlift technique, for example, is very good. I very rarely need to actually do a deadlift 2-day where I'm training skill. It's very hard for my skill level of deadlift to drop, and it's about as good as it needs to be. I've pulled 273 weighing 68 kilos, so you know, it's up there. I know I'm going to be very good at that. So I might skip that for myself. That might be gone, and I could put another alternative exercise in there. So even if I was working these 4 days, I might be able to fit in more. So experience is a big factor here. What I would say though, if you were an intermediate to a newer person, even slightly more advanced if you're not used to calisthenics, stick to these rules, do it in a 3 or 4 day program, and you will guarantee that you get results. It gets more complicated when you get into those exceptions and longer training times and how your experience interferes with it. So I would try this. And as I've said about twice already, there will be a link in the description for a template of this and an explanation of how to use it, so you can go away and make a program for yourself based on this. So that's our video today, guys. Thank you for being here. It was a bit chaotic, it was a bit wild, but I want to show you what goes on in my mind when I program. I want to give you guys the ability to kind of explore this cool sort of training for yourself and just give you an insight into different breed coaching, because this is what we do for all our clients. This is the type of stuff we're thinking about, and this is how we get amazing results. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to get more content like this, subscribe to the channel, or you can go and watch another video if you want to see more from me somewhere around me. I'm not sure which side it will be on, but have a click, check it out.